Hello friends, welcome to part 14 of our Blazor server shopping cart project. In our previous video, we have seen how we have created this make payment using Stripe, and we have created this user service method as well as the API method. So in this video, we are going to see how we can create a PayPal API. So let's begin with our tutorial. So to begin with, we'll have to create a folder in our logic layer. So right click on that and add a new folder, and let's name it as PayPal. So in this PayPal folder, we'll have to add few classes. Let's change it to PayPal, and first and click on add a new class. We will name this class as PayPal access token. Click on add. Next class will be PayPal API. Adding a new class. PayPal created response. And the last one will be PayPal executed response. So in this PayPal access token, we'll be adding few properties. Let's first make it as public. So in this PayPal access token, we have added scope, access token, token type, app ID, expires in, and once. So we may use all this property or may not use, but we'll have to include it in this PayPal access token. Next will be our PayPal API. Let's make this one as public, and PayPal created response as well public, and the third one PayPal executed response as public. So in this PayPal executed response, let's add few more properties. So yeah, I've added here all the properties. So it is having nested classes within it. So here I have many classes within that same PayPal executed response class. So let me explain. Okay, so I have the ID, intent, state, cart, then I have the payer, which is of part of the same class. Then I have transaction array, date, time, links. Then in the payer we have payment methods, status, payer info. Payer info, again we have a class here with email, first name, last name, shipping address, and billing address, country code. Shipping address, again we have a class here with all the basic details. Then we have the billing address with all the basic details. After that we have the transaction with amount, payee, item list, and related resources. So for all these classes are described below with amount, currency details. Then we have the details class. Then we have the payee class, item list with shipping address 1. So in shipping address 1 we have recipient name, line, city, and all this. Then we have the related resources with sale. In the sale we have all the details related to sale, amount, transaction fee, links. Then I have the transaction fee and the link, href relate method, all this. We are going to use this few of these methods and classes. So moving next to our, we have PayPal created response. So let's add few more properties over here as well. So in PayPal created response, we have very few, like we have ID, intents on similar lines what we have in PayPal executed response, but we have few. So we have payer, then have the transaction, then we have the amount, then we have the link, and all. Only 4: amount, link, transaction, pair, and this basic ID intent state using these three classes. Now moving to our last class, which is PayPal API. So this is the main class. In this class, we are going to add all the methods and all the code which we are going to use from this access token, created response and executed response. And this PayPal API will interact with our PayPal sandbox. So let's add the code. So the first thing is like we are going to create a constructor and we are going to inject this I configuration, which is part of this Microsoft extensions configuration. So I've added this, we included this Microsoft extensions configuration in our namespace. After this, we are going to use few more class code methods. So as we have created 4 classes here in this three classes, PayPal executed response, created response, and access token. So for this executed response, we're going to introduce one method in this PayPal API. So let me put the method here. So this method says private static task PayPal executed response, and we're going to include here system.net.http and this authenticate value header. For this J object, we are going to use Newtonsoft JSON.link, and for this JSON convert, we are going to use Newtonsoft.json. Now we have to use this PayPal payment executed response, and the return type will be PayPal payment executed response. Okay, so we are going to use we need to create the return type. So here we'll have to remove this PayPal executed response, and here as well it will be PayPal executed response. Okay, this PayPal executed response is the return type, and here also it's PayPal executed response. So it's a static method with return type as a task of PayPal executed response. Then we have execute PayPal payment async, and the input parameters are HTTP client, PayPal access token, payment ID, and payer ID. After that, we are again creating this HTTP request message, and in that we are posting it to this version 1 payment and the payment ID, and calling the execute method. And in the headers of that request, we are adding the access token, and we are creating an object of payment with a payer ID, and then we are applying the content using serialization of type JSON, and we are sending the response, and the content we are awaiting, and in the await executed payment we are just simply passing the content. So here I have the payment, and that payment I'm serializing here in this one. So before this I need to authentication. We need the method for this authentication header, so we can use this using system.net.headers. So now if you see this execute PayPal payment async, this method is completely working fine. Let me save it. Now on similar lines, we'll have to create a method for PayPal created response. So here I just have to rename it PayPal created response, and here if you see it's exactly same. Here the input parameters are HTTP access token, then I have the total and the currency, and here I'm creating an object of intent. Okay, and with the intent redirect URLs, payer, transactions, and all these details, and payment method as PayPal. And similarly here as well I have to put this PayPal created response, and here as well. So on similar lines, I'm just have to call this post method with v1 payments payment, and whatever I'm getting, I'm just returning this PayPal method, PayPal payment created. This will be the return type. So it's pretty same on similar to what we have created for execute response. Now we'll have to create a class or a method for PayPal access token. So let me put the code here. So here if you see, it's a get PayPal access token async, which receives a HTTP parameter, and we need the client ID and the secret, and we have the bytes, and we are just encoding the client ID and secret in a byte array. Then we are calling this HTTP request message and posting it to the version 1 OAuth token with the basic authorization, and we are creating a dictionary of string with grant type as client credential, and then we are simply deserializing it and waiting for the response, and in response we are getting the access token. Okay, so this way we'll create the we have created this get PayPal access token. Now we have to get the HTTP client, so we'll have to create get HTTP client, get PayPal HTTP client method. So this is a simple method. We just simply uh, adding the client sandbox name, API sandbox paypal.com, and the basic address and the timeout. Now the main method which actually deals with all these three classes, all these three to four methods which we have created in this PayPal API class, that will be putting here, and that's pretty simple. Get a redirect URL to PayPal with this, which receives the total and the amount and the currency, and here it is like PayPal created response, and here I have the created payment links.first. Let me check why the error is coming. So we'll have to use using system.linkqueue. So it works fine now. So in this method get redirect URL to PayPal, we'll be getting this total and currency. I will be receiving these two parameters, and based on that we are calling this get a PayPal HTTP client, and using this get we are getting the get using this method get PayPal access token, we're getting the access token, and using that access token we are simply calling the create PayPal payment async, and from that create PayPal payment we are getting the approver URL, and that URL will contain the token, or we can say the transaction ID. So these four classes we have created: PayPal access token, PayPal API, PayPal created response, and execute response. Now we have to use this PayPal methods or these four classes in our user service. So let's go here. So here we are going to create a very simple method, make payment PayPal, and we have this double total, and we are going to call the PayPal API, and that PayPal API will simply call the get redirect URL to PayPal with the total amount which we want to transact and the currency. Okay, so here we'll have to include this shop.logic PayPal folder path, and also we'll have to pass the configuration path. So this configuration we'll have to include here in first, and for this we have to use this Microsoft extensions configuration, and here also we'll have to include that configuration, and this dot configuration equal to the configuration which we have here. Okay, so this looks fine now. Now this user service method will be called from the controller. We'll have to go and create a method in our user controller on similar lines what we have created for checkout Stripe. So here we have checkout PayPal. So we have this make payment PayPal as a part of this user service. It's giving errors because we have not included it in our interface. So let's copy it and include it in our user service. Now the user controller should work fine. So this looks fine. Now if you see in this PayPal API, we have made use of this PayPal client ID and client secret. So this client ID and client secret will be getting from our PayPal account. We need to visit this developer.paypal.com and then we can click on dashboard from the this menu, and here we'll see we have this REST API apps. So by default we'll be getting this default applications. We need to create a new app. We can name whatever it is, and from this when we click on this app name, we'll get the client ID and secret. We get the client ID and the secret as well. Okay, so we can get the both this client ID and secret from this account. Okay, so we get this secret. So we need these two client ID and secret details. So that we need to add in for to get it from configuration. We'll have to add it here in this app settings. Uh, okay, here we'll have to add it. So let me add it here. So here I have created this section PayPal and client ID secret, two things I have entered. This will be useful later on, so we can ignore for now. We have this URL API, return URL and cancel URL. This three will be keeping us blank for now. So we are interested in client ID and secret. So this looks fine now. Let me run the application and see how it works. So if we see the API in the user controller, we are only expecting checkout PayPal with a double value as an input. So let me put the breakpoint here and let me start the project. The path is API/user/checkout PayPal. API/user/checkout PayPal question mark total equal to, let me put 50 and enter. Let's continue. Okay, so it has worked properly and we have got this response, and in this response we can see the token. This we can take as a reference or transaction number. So let me run it again and see step by step. We go to the implementation. Continue. If 11, so it goes here, goes through all the methods and come back. So we have got the response back. Now let's see where this request is being registered in our PayPal account. So in our PayPal account, we have this sandbox menu. In this, we have this API calls. So when we click on that API calls, we get few things here. So we have this recent calls coming here. They're not. We can see here we cannot see the details in case the call is successful. So we are not getting anything here when we click on it. But we can see the recent calls like 16 November 2021 based on our time zone. So that was it today. And in our next video, we are going to see how we can integrate both this API, uh, PayPal API and Stripe API on our user interface. That will be like when user clicks on add to cart and goes here, and now we only have this payment mode cash on delivery. We'll be adding two more radio buttons over here like Stripe and PayPal, and then based on the checkout, this particular API should get called. So see you in the next video. If you have any doubts regarding this video, you can let us know in our comments, or you can drop a message on our Facebook page. Thanks for watching.